Hey guys, it's David Barnett with davidcbarnett.com, the blog site, YouTube channel, iTunes, and SoundCloud podcast where I talk about buying, selling, managing, and financing small and medium-sized businesses. I did a video probably 6 months or maybe a little bit more ago about bread routes or bread routes, I guess if you're further down south. And there's been a lot of conversation and discussion on that series of comments below in the YouTube channel. And one of the things that has come up is people have asked me directly, what about FedEx routes or routes? And I've actually had a hand in doing some evaluation work on some of these businesses. And so I wanted to just have a little discussion about these things because sometimes these delivery businesses are framed as though they are franchises with protected territories and things like this. And there's an agreement between the two parties which frames it like you're buying something durable, like if you bought a restaurant franchise and they gave you a protected territory. Okay. And I know you have to maintain the contract and all the terms and conditions in order to keep your franchise in your territory, but it's definitely clear when you own a franchise for a certain market area that you're the one that has it. They can't sell, other people into that market, etc. And if you're going to buy a franchise, of course, you'd be reading my book, Franchise Warnings, which you can get on Amazon as either a Kindle paperback or an audiobook. But let's get back to FedEx. So Federal Express, when I was evaluating one of these FedEx routes, one of the things I asked for, of course, was a copy of the contract because I didn't really know a whole lot about it at the time. So I got the contract and it was really thick. But a couple of things in the contract stood out to me. And basically, the contract was a contract for service. The company did not own some kind of FedEx franchise. They were simply a supplier to Federal Express. So FedEx would get them to deliver and pick up packages, and in exchange for that service, FedEx would pay them a fee, and they ran their own business. And I went over here to the FedEx Ground website, and it talks about the business opportunities that they have for contractors. And there's a bunch of them on here right now that you can apply for, basically routes that they need filled for pickup and delivery. And so these are businesses that you could get into. You could get a truck, you could start picking up and delivering packages. FedEx, as far as I can read, isn't going to charge you money to become their supplier. And that's an important idea to focus on, because they are not selling you a business opportunity. They are merely posting that they need contractors to do certain work for them. They're looking for suppliers. So FedEx is not selling a business opportunity. This is a purchasing function. They're looking to acquire a supplier for a given area. Okay. And what does it say on here? So business relationship. It says FedEx Ground is federally regulated in Canada and the US. FedEx Ground contracts with independent businesses that use their own employees to provide package pickup, delivery, and transport for an agreed upon service area. These are independent businesses or contracted providers. Okay. It also goes on to say that they will only do business with corporations, not with partnerships or LLCs or sole proprietors, et cetera. So they have a certain threshold or mandate of what kind of company they're willing to contract with. And of course, this probably has to do with liability and all that kind of stuff. Is it a franchise opportunity? No, it's not. It's just simply a contracted service. They're hiring you to do a job. What are the responsibilities? Well, you're going to pick up or you can do line haul. So they have two different kinds of opportunities they do. And how are you compensated? Well, there's a volume or fee based on how many packages you deliver, or maybe how many miles or kilometers that you drive. So basically what they're saying we are not selling a business opportunity. We are creating an opportunity for you to sell us your service. Now, here's what's going on out there is that people are signing up for these things and they're building profitable businesses, and then they're turning around and trying to sell those businesses to somebody else. And this is why when I was evaluating that one particular business, I asked for a copy of the contract, because within the contract, it basically says we have certain standards for delivery and certain standards for all kinds of things. Obviously, FedEx makes a promise to the end customer as far as when the package is going to get there and making sure things aren't lost and that kind of thing. And the contract renewed annually. So just like the other bread route or bread route video that I made, I said you're basically creating a business with one customer. In that video, it was the bread company. In this video, if you're going to buy a FedEx route, you're basically buying a business that has one customer. Now, in the past, I've evaluated other delivery operations which actually had multiple courier companies as customers. One of them had 5, I believe, different courier companies was using them. They kind of created this route through a rural area. And whenever somebody wanted to deliver packages in there, there weren't enough packages for them to hire their own contractor. These guys would say, hey, we'll do it. And so they were moving their vehicles through this rural zone, doing pickup and drop off for a bunch of competing courier companies. And so in that particular case, the business had real value because there was a huge barrier to entry. It didn't make sense for anyone else to try to create a route through that area because there wouldn't be enough volume unless you could bring the volume of many companies together, which they had. So there was a barrier to entry. And if one of those companies decided not to do business with them anymore, they wouldn't lose 100% of their income. They would just lose a portion of their income. So to me, that's a real delivery business, a real package business where they're doing business with different customers. Okay, lots of opportunities. With these FedEx routes, what you are basically doing is you're getting into business where you have one customer. And if you lose that one customer, then the entire thing evaporates. All of the goodwill is gone, and you're left basically with some trucks or whatever it is. And I know that some people are paying millions of dollars for these FedEx route businesses, and there is no guarantee whatsoever that FedEx may not change the rules, that FedEx may decide if they're doing enough deliveries in a certain area, they might put their own company-owned vehicle in there. There's all kinds of things that could happen. And so that's why whenever I advise someone on one of these kinds of businesses is they need to take this customer concentration risk into account. It's a huge risk. You got one customer, right? And so I was talking with one guy recently, and I was saying, look, if you're going to buy this business, you need to have vendor financing for the entire amount of the goodwill. Because if something should happen, you need the right to offset, or you need the ability to get out from under a bunch of debt if you no longer have a business that's functioning. So what I recommended to him was that he made a down payment, which was approximately the value of the equipment, trucks, et cetera, that he was receiving, so that if everything collapsed, he could at least sell the trucks, right, and get his money back. But I said, look, the payments over time have to be related to the continuation of business with FedEx. It doesn't make any sense otherwise. Otherwise, you're taking on a huge risk. You're taking on a huge debt. If you did a loan to buy the business and FedEx pulled its contract from you, then you'd be screwed. You would have no revenue and you wouldn't be able to repay the loan. So extreme risk in these kinds of businesses because it's a sole source. It's just one customer. It's a customer concentration problem. And I know that there's all kinds of FedEx route guys out there who are going to whine and complain and put comments down below that I don't know what I'm talking about. That's fine. You guys have a relationship with FedEx. You feel comfortable with them. I don't. All I'm working on is what I can read. And what I can read is that they're looking for suppliers to deliver things. And what I read in the contract is that they could basically renew the contract annually or not. And so to me, that equals risk. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I'm not about taking crazy risks. I'm about making smart decisions. So with the proper deal structure, I think these could be very good businesses, but the risk of the continued business with FedEx has got to be shared with the seller. And with that, we'll see you later. Don't forget, if you are interested in buying a business, head over to businessbuyeradvantage.com, where you can do my 9.5-hour online program. Here, I'll show you where to go. businessbuyeradvantage.com. You can sign up for my online course. It's 9.5 hours of me teaching you how to buy a business. It's by far the least expensive way for you to spend a whole day with me learning about how to make a deal work and make a deal work properly for you. And with that, we'll see you later. Have a great week.